0. The number of people killed by killer whales in the wild. 4. The number of people killed by killer whales in captivity. Do we push the limits of how close man and beast can be within each other? Or are these actions triggered by human fault by capturing whales? We enable whales to be kept in captivity by buying tickets to aquariums or shows, such as SeaWorld, along with not supporting or funding release efforts made to put whales back into the ocean. As an animal trainer, I understand the importance of proper health, but more importantly, the well-being and psychological toll taken on animals that are kept in captivity. I have done research specifically on whales that are kept in captivity and the effects it has on them. While we may not have the opportunity to study them so up close and personal as we would if they were only in the wild, they would have a happier and more natural life if they were released. Today, I will talk to you about why whales are in captivity, why we need to eliminate whales being in captivity, and the things that society can do to eliminate whales in captivity. Now illegal, capturing whales from the wild as babies to perform in shows was practiced. From the ocean, they would be taken from their mothers and trained on obedience to perform tricks for food. While capturing whales today is now illegal, they still continuously breed whales in captivity to make more performers for their shows. SeaWorld states that whales play an important educational role as ambassadors for their species, so this is a reason we should keep them in captivity. They also do a lot of research on whales in captivity, which they claim could not be done anywhere else. SeaWorld claims that they increase the lifespan of whales by their specialized diets and their veterinary team that's on call 24/7. Of course, if a caretaker is telling you that they are able to take care of the whales and that they're healthy in there, why would you question it? After all, they do spend every day with them, and they have specialized vets on their team to understand the whales. So they would know if it was inhumane, wouldn't they? Contrary to previous comments, many of us forget that this is their job, a very thrilling and exciting job. Trainers may take the job on its rarity, but when looking at their lives in captivity in comparison to looking at their lives in the wild, it's hard to believe that all they want to do is research and educate people. A killer whale in the wild can swim to upwards of 100 miles per day, use fresh fish as nourishment and hydration, and have many different kinds of stimulation and companionship. When in captivity, whales are often placed in holding tanks until they're needed for performances, where they can then go in the big tanks for an average of 30 to 45 minutes. This comes nowhere near the 100 miles that they would swim exploring the ocean every day. The fish that are fed in captivity are also dried out and frozen, so this drains a lot of the nourishments that they would have and the hydration that would be found in natural fish. To replace this, they give them gelatin, which is a very unnatural alternative to real fish. It is apparent that captivity on whales takes a huge psychological toll on them. In the wild, whales don't sit or float because they are constantly moving. In captivity, you see a lot of whales being able to sit or just float, whether they're in a holding tank or in a performance tank, due to lack of stimulation and psychological distress. Whales, are a lot like humans, and that they have different forms of communication depending on what type of the world they came from. So whales that are traded or placed in different aquariums or show rings often rake each other or scrape their teeth on each other if there's any form of miscommunication or confrontation. This can be especially troubling for whales that need to adjust to new aquariums. Another consequence of performance trainers are whales turning on them or attacking them if they are agitated or distressed. In the wild, there have been very limited accounts of whales attacking humans, and none of them turning out to be fatal. In the ones that were recorded, the whales let go of the people, and biologists believe that the only reason why they attacked in the first place was because there were people swimming in very highly inhabited areas of seals. SeaWorld still currently owns and breeds a male whale that was accountable for 3 different deaths. The first situation, SeaWorld says they had nothing to do with because they didn't own the whale. The second, they claim that the whale did not inflict the damages done to create a fatality. And the third one, they said the whale was playing too aggressively and the proper precautions were not taken. The reason or fault of this happening isn't the controversial thing here. It's surprising that numerous accounts were taken of whales attacking in captivity, and only 2 of them resulted in death in SeaWorld, and 2 of them outside of SeaWorld. The lack of freedom does tremendous damage on the lifespan of whales as well. According to Kirby's Death at SeaWorld, whales in captivity have 2.5 times less likelihood of living as they would if they were in the ocean. So what options do we have to create happier and healthier lives for whales? SeaWorld announced that they are building a new aquarium doubling in size from 5.6 million gallons to 10 million gallons, with more stimulating scenery such as reefs or beachfronts. Here's a picture of the current tanks that they have at SeaWorld with 5.6 million gallons, and in relation to the doubled in size tanks that they will have with 10 million gallons. So congratulations, SeaWorld. Instead of a bathtub, let's put them in a backyard blow-up pool and put a rubber ducky in there. This isn't going to be sufficient as it would be if they were let back into the wild. Nothing would beat a life that they would have out in the ocean like this. To accomplish this, it takes society to decide that they will no longer attend shows or aquarium shows, but rather place the funds into the release efforts of putting the whales back into the wild for research whales in the wild, not in captivity. Today, I have spoken to you about eliminating whales in captivity. Animals the size of a bus should remain in the ocean to enjoy a more happy life and a more natural life. We are still able to research whales if they are in the wild, and this would give us a more accurate depiction of their lives rather than studying them when they're being held in a bathtub-sized tank. Make a killer choice and choose to be a voice for the voiceless.